I've lived in Darrow's Peak my entire life, a quiet town wrapped in forest and fog, where people gossip more than they pray, and every mystery becomes a tall tale by sundown. But none of us, not a single soul, were ready for the one that walked out of the trees. It started one night last fall. The dogs went wild first, barking, whining, some even breaking their leashes to get away from something we couldn't see. Then came the sound, a deep, guttural, almost roar, echoing from the woods that border the town. People thought it was a bear at first. A few said it sounded human. The next morning, half the town showed up at the diner, whispering and pale. Old Rick, who runs the gas station, swore he saw something. Huge, covered in thick, dark hair, walking upright across the ridge by the old mill road. His voice cracked when he said it. "It looked right at me," he stammered, "and I swear to God, it wanted to speak." Within days, it wasn't just talk anymore. It came back. Every few nights, like clockwork, that thing would appear. People saw it from their porches, in their headlights, through their windows. It would stand just inside the tree line, growling, yelling, thrashing about like something tortured. Nobody could understand it. Nobody wanted to. Soon, folks stopped going out after dark. The schools closed early. The sheriff kept telling everyone to stay calm, but the whole town was holding its breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop. And then came the men from the tavern. You know the kind, big voices, bigger egos, fueled by beer and bravado. They announced they were going to hunt that monster down and end this nonsense once and for all. I tried to reason with them, told them we didn't even know what it wanted, that maybe it was hurt or lost, but they just laughed me off. They saw a monster. I saw a mystery. That night, while they were busy planning their so-called hunt, I packed a backpack. Water, some crackers, a flashlight, and my old field notebook. Something deep inside me, a gut feeling I couldn't ignore, told me this wasn't an act of evil. It was a plea. I don't know why, but I had to find out for myself. I left at dawn and followed the ridge where it had been seen. The woods were quiet, almost unnaturally so. The deeper I went, the more uneasy I felt. Branches snapped under my feet, the mist hung low and thick, and every so often, I'd hear a faint rumble, not quite a growl, more like murmuring, a sound of distress. By the second day, I was exhausted, hungry. I started to think maybe I'd lost my mind, chasing a shadow through the fog. Then I heard it again, that low, throaty sound, but this time it was closer, much closer. I ducked behind a massive oak, my heart pounding against my ribs. And there they were. Not one, but two. The creature, the Bigfoot, was kneeling beside something smaller, a baby. The poor little thing whimpered and shifted, its leg bent at an awful, sickening angle. The mother let out a deep, sorrowful sound that made my eyes sting. It wasn't rage, it was pain, pure, unfiltered maternal grief. I knew right then what she'd been doing all along. She wasn't attacking our town. She was calling for help. When she saw me, she froze, shoulders squared, teeth bared, ready to fight for her child. I slowly raised my empty hands and whispered, "It's okay, Mama. I'm here to help." My voice trembled, but I kept talking softly, the same way I would to a scared child. I backed away slowly, found a sturdy fallen branch, and tore long strips from my own shirt. When I came back, she was still watching me, a low growl rumbling in her chest, but she didn't move. She didn't charge. I knelt beside the baby and gently rubbed its head. It was terrified, shaking and breathing hard. "I know, sweetheart," I whispered. "I'm sorry, but this will help." I took a deep breath and pressed the leg back into place. It cried out, and the mother roared so loud I felt it in my bones. But she didn't strike. She just watched. I splinted the leg with the branch and tied it off with the fabric from my shirt. My hands were shaking the whole time. When I looked up, she was staring right into my eyes. Not with anger, but with something else. Something I recognized. Something human. Understanding. "You need to go now," I said softly. "They're coming for you. Please, just go." She tilted her head, blinked slowly, and I swear, for a moment, She nodded. I started back toward town, tears running down my face. When I reached the clearing, I turned around for one last look. She was walking deeper into the woods, her baby cradled carefully in her arms. The forest swallowed them both in silence. The hunters never found her. They searched for a week, with dogs, traps, even drones, but found nothing. The sheriff said maybe she moved on, but I know better. She just wanted to protect her child, and we, the so-called civilized ones, couldn't even bother to listen. Now, every time I walk the forest edge, I leave an apple on the old stump by the stream. It's my way of saying, I remember. And sometimes, when the fog rolls thick and heavy through Darrow's Peak, I hear her again. Not roaring this time, but humming low, like a mother's lullaby, deep in the trees. Thank you for listening to my story. If you've ever had an experience you couldn't explain, let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this, please consider subscribing for more stories from the edge of the map. Stay curious and stay kind.